And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all. What up, world? It's your homeboy Wordplay TJ, and this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything for no reason at all. This time around, I'm going to talk about why Yoshinoya is not a Drake diss. And I was thinking about this at length, and I did a little bit of research, not a lot of it, but a little bit of research in order to kind of understand why I'm standing on this pillar of Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, is not dissing Drake on Yoshinoya. And I think it's just because Drake has nothing to do with this song. It may be Drake adjacent, but it's not totally a Drake diss. And that's why I think it's just a little weird to even say that it is. And so I got several points that I'm thinking about on this episode, just kind of talking about why I think it's not a Drake diss. And I'm going to go through each one of those points. And then hopefully by the end of this, people can see it the way I see it. I've seen a lot of videos popping up. Oh, this is a Drake diss. This is a Drake diss. This is a Drake diss. And then I go on Genius, and everything on Genius is a stretch for me. And as an MC, I wanted to break this down. Icarus Gray couldn't be here today with us, but we're definitely going to do this anyway. So the first point I have is it's not direct enough. And the reason why I think so is because if Gambino really wanted to do this at the end of his career, it wouldn't be a wrong time to be very direct with Drake. One, because it's at the end of his career as Childish Gambino. And two, it's also because Drake just got dissed royally by Kendrick Lamar. And if there's any time to go at Drake, now's the time. Everybody has their opportunity to go at Drake, and Drake on stage was talking bad about Childish Gambino once he learned that This Is America, it was a Drake diss. And I think that part's important. I'm going to get to that in a second. I think that Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, knows that this is the time that people are going to be heightened and aware about anything going towards Drake. And they're going to jump on anything that might help them capitalize on their monetary goals. That's why I'm taking the point of this isn't a Drake diss, because, monetary goals. So the second point is, I looked on the web to see if anybody was, kind of confirming this, whether Donald was going to speak up about it, whether or not, the producer was speaking up about it. And I found a few articles on Hot New Hip Hop and some other sources that said that the producer just kind of demystifies some of these claims, or kind of leans into the claims. But when I got to the article, it felt like even the article was a stretch, because the producer hadn't said anything. As a matter of fact, the producer, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the producer with Childish Gambino on this record, he just posted a tweet that said LOL, and it was, a screenshot of Top Dog saying LOL. And so that's not reminiscent of a diss to me. That doesn't scream that this is evidence of a diss. It screams that y'all are falling for it, and it's funny to the people that were involved in making the thing. I think my last point on this isn't direct enough is that this was a soundtrack. This is a soundtrack song. So Gambino has released Bando Stone and the New World, which is a movie that he's produced, and it's coming out very soon if it's not already out. And this whole album is a soundtrack that accompanies this movie. And it's Childish Gambino's style, or Donald Glover's style. I keep calling him Childish Gambino. Childish Gambino is going out the door. I'm going to call him Donald Glover from here on out. So Donald, it's in his style to be a multi-hyphenate artist in this situation. And so he's trying to sell the soundtrack. He's trying to get this thing sold. And I think he also knows that people are going to think that this whole thing is a Drake diss, which is why I think it's not. And so I'm on to my second point, which is that the Drake diss already happened. If anything, This Is America was a Drake diss, and Childish Gambino has confirmed that it started off that way, but it didn't end that way. But This Is America says enough about Drake, in my opinion, especially because it started off as a Drake diss but didn't end that way. I think it's specifically that reason because Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, I keep doing it. Donald Glover on This Is America is trying to highlight and show that you get what you get in America. You get a ripoff of black culture. You get the demonization of black folks. You get the murder of black folks by the hand of police officers. And that encompasses what Drake is doing to black hip hop culture, which, based off of speculation, they're saying that, Drake is a culture vulture. Drake is a leech on black culture as it stands in America. And we've said this before, or at least I've said this before, is that, black culture in Canada should be and is very different from black culture in America, even though there might be some overlaps. And so that's my second point, that This Is America, already happened. And basically there's if this really was going to be a Drake diss, I think it'll be a little bit more direct. And that's what leads me to thinking that Yoshinoya is more of a flex than a diss. And so when I think about it being more of a flex than a diss, I think that Gambino is showing that he is the antithesis to Drake. So that's the closest that this can come to being a Drake diss, is that he's just showing and sharing that I'm nothing like Drake. He's this, I'm that. They're more of an anti sort of dynamic than anything. And this kind of shows up in the lyrics when he says, you effing with these hoes and I'm effing my wife. So like there it is, right? Like if there's going to be anything that's adjacent to dissing Drake, he calls out the difference in character between these two guys. And that kind of emulates what Kendrick Lamar has been saying on his diss, is that, I'm more of a family man, you're more of a bachelor, and these two things are not the same when it comes to, being a part of a family or a family unit. And I think that Childish Gambino wants to diss him, but he knows it's not the time. So this is my fourth point. Gambino is calculated. He isn't doing anything that he isn't aware of. And I think he says this in this part. He say, AK not silent like knife. I think that ties to, like, number one, and this is one thing that I think Genius was kind of on the verge of annotating, or one of the annotators was on the verge of getting right. DJ Academics is a little bit too vocal when it comes to like the Drake disses or controversy and those types of things. And what Gambino is saying is like, I'm not going to come out like an AK. I'm not going to come out spraying at everybody. I'm not going to come out, making a lot of noise and a big scene. I'm gonna come silent. I'm gonna sneak up on them, and if this is something that I really wanted to do, I would do it. I would be direct, but I would be stealth about it. Nobody would know it was even coming. And he also says that in the next line that he's not gonna see it coming. He's not gonna see Drake wouldn't see a diss from Gambino coming from a mile away, and that's why I think again that Yoshinoya is not a Drake diss, and because it's a stretch. It's too obvious. It's too in your face. It's attached to a soundtrack. It's a little bit too loud. It's attached to Donald Glover making this the end of Childish Gambino. It's just too noisy to be that type of attack in that way. My fifth point is the second verse is not even about Drake in the first place. If the first verse was, or the first part was about Drake, which I still don't believe it is, then the second verse doesn't help this song. It doesn't help the point that this song is about Drake. If it did, then the second verse would be about something different. Or the second verse would be phrased a little bit differently, so that he's talking about Drake. And as a rapper, I think the second verse, if you're going to only have two verses, your second verse is an opportunity to go more direct if your first verse is a lead up or more of a kind of narrative to a diss record. And so I think in the second verse, Donald is focused on the fact that his whole vibe, his whole character, his whole artistry has been underrated by Black culture and hip hop culture. And that's because he comes from a style that is not necessarily acceptable all the time in Black culture. It is more so now today than it ever has been. But the reality is that since the inception of hip hop, we've more leaned towards the gangster image, the hood image of Black folks. And that's not necessarily Gambino. He even says in this song, like, I haven't held a key. I don't mess with that. I don't deal with baby daddies. He says that in the first verse. I don't deal with baby daddies, but I make sure that every dad on my payroll is taken care of. That's what he is about. And so I think that, just like I said, he's the antithesis to Drake. I think that he's saying full blank in the second verse that this is why I'm different. He also talked about, he said in the verse, I told him take the backhand points. He wanted to front. Now his career in the blunt. Like, this is not about Drake. I think this is more about all of the folks that shunned Childish Gambino. And while he's coming up, if anybody knows anything about being independent or coming up in the music industry, from time to time, collaborations are a good part of making sure that your career is continuing to grow and to take off and to do the things that you wanted to do. And so I think in this situation, he's talking about all the times that he asked for a verse. And when you can't pay up front for a verse, you have to pay it on the back end. And so anytime that anybody told him no, he watches and then he sees that these people's careers didn't even pan out. And they could have had that back end to help them out. And so that's what he's paying attention to. He's saying that these rappers that passed on him are all smoked now. They don't live up to what they could have. And my final point is that he's sharing that the industry is fake and the real is the only thing that survives the test of time. The realness is the only thing that people can hold on to and people can feel, and it's tangible for the culture. And anything that is fake is not going to last, which is ironic because Drake's dad said that on Drake's dad said that on his album. Which one? Nothing Was the Same. And I think that's it. That's really it. I appreciate y'all for taking a listen to this episode of the podcast. It's really short. It's really sweet. And hopefully you get something out of it. Hopefully you go over to our YouTube channel to watch this video in full. I hope you subscribe to our channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I hope that you support everything that we're into. Our sponsor, Ground News, is in the link in the description. So if you want news that is anti-bias and everything, go ahead and check that out with the link down in the description. And thank y'all for being here, and thank you for listening. Until next time, it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ. Icarus Gray will be back next week. Peace.